Let's talk about what you can look forward to on this Witch Reads podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out in your favorite podcast app. You will not be disappointed. In the podcast, I share my thoughts and my experiences of reading different books to help me grow my magic or tend to my soul. The first episode I created was after reading Cindy Brannan's Entering Hecate's Cave. And whoa, that was just what a beautiful, absolutely perfect book to start the podcast with. It was dark and deep and helped me to understand so much beautiful symbolism to interweave in my art journal when I'm wanting to connect with my own shadow world, my own subconscious realm, but also with the energy of Hecate or the Dark Queen and how the dark goddess can really support us and help us. And I love working with that dark goddess in the dark moon phases. So this is a great podcast to listen to if you want to receive a little bit of insight of how to deepen that relationship, and a great book to pick up. This is such one of the things I loved about this particular book was just how personal Cindy's relationship to the dark goddess feels. And you can tell when she's writing about it that she's like living this stuff. She's not just researching it. This is part of her life. And it's like reading a relationship with a mentor that somebody has with a mentor, with a really deep friend or great teacher. So it's a lovely, lovely book. The second one I dove into in the podcast was Emily Dickinson's Gardening Life. I am not a green witch. I do not like gardening or raising plants. I love to draw plants in my art journal. And I work with plant magic through my art journal. That just happens to be how I do it. I know so many other people who actually have beautiful green thumbs and can work wonders and be so creative with their plant magic in real life with the earth. But I myself do not. But I absolutely loved Emily Dickinson's poems that were interweaved here. And Marta McDowell, the author of this book, actually worked for a while in the gardens of Emily Dickinson's home, as that is like a type of museum, I think, now. And so she talks about those gardens, but also really talks about just the love that Emily Dickinson had for nature and for the power of nature. And it really deepened my appreciation. And I actually ended up liking working with plants in my garden. And it's just starting now because it's my first year of actually enjoying watching the plants grow. It's just never something I've been super interested in before, but to get interested. And I am really thanking this book for that. So my magic is growing and I am changing. And this quest that I've been on, because I did not read witch books or spirituality books for the whole 25 years I've been in the industry. I just didn't practice that way. I just practiced by just being with my art journal and just going within. So that was how I worked my magic, was talking to my angel Cassandra and the spirit guides. But now I'm really enjoying actually reading some books and learning from some people who have some amazing things to say. And this particular book is the next episode, which is Mysteries of the Dark Moon by Demetra George. Such a great book. Another book, just like the first one, that I'll be definitely rereading. There's so much wisdom and so much knowledge. There's a lot of research and just such great knowledge in this particular book. There was one space in the book that I had a little bit of a hard time. I talk about that in the podcast if you're interested in hearing about that, because sometimes I get, emotionally triggered, because that's what happens. We get emotionally triggered when we're growing and when we're stretching and we're learning. And I'm not going to agree with everything that everybody says or writes. But my goodness, even when I don't agree, the wisdom that we can gather from all of the other places in the book is just, of course, the reason why I'm doing this, to stretch and to grow. The latest episode is actually with Harold R. Johnson's book, The Power of Story. I have no idea about this book. The reason I came across it was I was in the bookstore looking for my next read, and I got pulled to it. And what pulled me to it was the dedication that Harold's wife wrote in the very beginning, just a little paragraph describing how Harold passed away a couple weeks after completing the edits for this particular book. And the fact, I just imagine being in her shoes and writing this dedication after my husband, all still makes me emotional because, oh my goodness, that's just such a beautiful thing to have done, but also what a difficult and challenging thing to do as well. And she just writes that he encourages us to think about where we came from and the future we choose. We have the ability to change our story. And I loved that dedication so much. It drew me right in. Well, the first thing that drew me in, honestly, was the book cover. I love book card. I am an art witch. Of course, I'm gonna love book covers. It's something that I think is like art form in and of itself, are the book covers. So that first drew me in, but then that dedication sealed it in, and I ended up purchasing it and using it for the podcast. So it's the fifth episode. And then the next and final one that I haven't, it's not the final one. Ooh, let's hope, because I still have a lot of learning that I have to do. But the next one is The Altar Within by Juliet Diaz. And I've never read anything. Like I said, I haven't read a lot of books, hence why I'm doing this. But I've never read anything by Juliet Diaz, so I'm not familiar. But this one else as well drew me in from following her on social media and just really liking a lot of the things that she was sharing. So I wanted to pick up this book and see what it might show me. I haven't dove into it yet. That's coming. That's for the next episode. But if you haven't caught up with the episodes yet, go check it out. I think you're really going to like it.